All right. I don't know about you guys, but let me just. I don't want this blasting. Okay. All right.
Many of
Good.
the people
Good.
who watch
Good. Cool. 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 All right. So I don't know about you guys, but I've been hearing like nonstop about this whole. I've been hearing nonstop about this whole DDG cameraman situation, right? Admittedly, I don't watch any streamers regularly. I just don't. You know what I mean? Sitting on a live stream is not really my thing. I feel like I know a good amount about the streamer culture just because I think I see so many clips. And I keep seeing nonstop clips about this DDG cameraman situation. So I haven't watched this video yet, but I know the channel JBM Fargo, and I know he normally does a pretty good job breaking stuff down. I do have my own opinions about the whole DDG cameraman situation because it actually reminds me of situations I've been in my own life, and we're going to talk about all of that, right? So, this video is called The Saddest Job in Streaming.
streamers, mainly IRL ones, don't really have the cameraman on their mind, and for good reason. They didn't come to watch them, but they are one of the most important components.
Oh, whoops, hold on. Let me fix this. Here we go.
Many of the people who watch streamers, mainly IRL ones, don't really have the cameraman on their mind, and for good reason. They didn't come to watch them, but they are one of the most important components to making any IRL stream or YouTube video digestible. Even if the creator is doing it themselves, the camera work still has to be somewhat solid. Bad camera work leads to the situation DDG is in right now, where he's going off about former cameramen and wages. This all goes back to Streaming University 26. In front of over tens of thousands of viewers, DDG ended up using 3 different cameramen, one being Kai Cenat for a brief segment. This all started when his cameraman couldn't keep up with his running, with DDG's chat calling him fat for breathing so hard. He started crying and going off on him.
Wait! Wait! Wait!
I shouldn't be laughing as a tubby motherfucker myself, right? But we're definitely changing that. But man, I couldn't imagine losing a cameraman job because you just weren't fit enough physically to keep up with the talent. You know what I mean? Damn.
I heard that shit was saying online. Where's Ed? He quit.
Okay, and that's a shame too because these other streamers that have cameramen and those cameramen are keeping up no problem. I would be pissed if my cameraman could. Ah, man, I'm not gonna lie, but like, especially because the cameraman, let's be real, like, are him being too out of shape to keep up with DDG. It's like I'm sure he's watched IRL streams before he got this job. You know what I mean? So he knows what this job entails. And he probably should have known that he has to be able to run for at least a couple minutes straight to like do this job. I don't think it was like a mystery. You have to have good enough cardiovascular health to run for a little bit for this job.
Quit, okay? He quit. And I ain't a quitter, and I'm not about to start streaming, bro. So stop that shit. Okay? I be interacting with y'all in the community, trying to fuck with y'all. Y'all keep calling me fat. We need Ed. Stop breathing. I'm carrying 50 pounds of shit. Fuck. We still have like 12 hours left of this shit. We have 12 hours left of this shit, bro. I'm thirsty. Oh.
Throughout the day, the chat
Wait, hold up. Was that cameraman like dead ass actually crying? Like, I hope he was just trolling. Because once again, as I just said earlier, this guy, when you sign up to be DDG's cameraman, right? I've assumed that you've watched like other IRL streams before. I'm sure you watched Streamer University before, right? I'm sure you've had other cameraman jobs before, right? It's not a mystery that you should be able to run for like a couple minutes to keep up with the streamer talent. You know what I mean? Obviously, DDG is not like a track runner, but yeah, you're at Streamer University. People can go kind of crazy sometimes. You might have to run to catch the action. You know, like even like the news cameraman. You know, like the cameraman for your local news station got to do some running sometimes. You know what I mean? So it's not like running and recording is like a streamer thing. You know. But yeah, like I'm not gonna lie, like the guy should have known what he was signing up for. You know.
That would say that he's doing a bad job, and DDG told him to lock in so he can potentially be a millionaire like his old cameraman Johnny.
Lock in. Lock the f in. You know what
No, I think he's actually crying. I don't think he's trolling. I think he's dead ass serious right now.
happened to the last second plane?
What?
One of them became a millionaire and one of them quit. I know you don't want that for yourself.
Wait, that's 50. I'll take that.
Well, he didn't lock in and had to get schooled on the basics of what to do after he ruined a potential clip.
Let me ask you this, and when you filming me, are you looking at me or are you looking at the camera? Me? Listen, that's all I need you to do, brother. Pay attention to me and just my eyes and my fingers. If I'm saying something and I'm pointing, that means I want you to look at that person. If I look at them, look at them. If I'm talking to somebody and they start talking, turn that bitch.
Nah, this gotta be embarrassing, especially after what happened earlier. You can obviously see DDG was pissed off. Like, content is everything to him. He basically lives and breathes content. This same cameraman will have to get schooled again by Kai Cenat, taking the camera out of his hand and teaching him what to do.
There's a new cameraman. He got an ass.
Man, if you're a cameraman, imagine working hard. You become a cameraman for DDG, right? You get invited to Streamer University. You get like this big opportunity, you know, because I don't know what the job market is like for cameramen. I never really got into the videography thing, right? That was never really my forte. But I would imagine that being DDG's cameraman and going to Streamer University, that has to look like fantastic on your resume, right? Even if you apply for like non YouTube streamer content related creator jobs, right? And imagine you do all of that and then you come to Streamer University just for Kai Cenat, the king of streaming, to tell you that you're shit.
You want me to record for you? No.
Can I see that backpack real quick? Is it a backpack? That's it. Then we look at the camera. Because sometimes I can tell, and we not
Yeah, that cameraman got exposed too.
looking at the camera. So it's like, conversation happening, we gotta make sure to pan it. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. You feel me? It's like that.
Kai did him dirty putting the camera on him though. He looked so fed up. So fed up that he quit after working less than a week for DDG. Ben Don and Dub would laugh at him and tell DDG to bring his last cameraman Ed back because he started streaming himself.
The person you called has a voicemail.
Walking is over.
I'm sorry, you can't leave a message.
Walking, yeah, you done. He done, boy.
I Ben knew he didn't like you though.
Hey, what you with that education?
You know that nigga, I caught him over there by himself arguing with DD Chat in the speaker. And he was talking back to him. He's like, y'all shut the fuck up. And y'all called me fat. No, and I was like, why is he doing that? And then at that point, I knew he was like, man, I'm straight on this shit. Yeah, you see, Ed just sparked up about 40 people in there. He said, man, I don't give a fuck. You better go get your nigga back. That's all you
After this cameraman quit, DDG got a replacement, one I'm guessing that lasted until recently, where he had to teach him what to do on stream as well.
Who is David? That nigga named David.
That nigga freak. That nigga.
He was laughing, but I'm sure it gets annoying after a while telling someone what to do, but I'm sure you already gave them the rundown already. Now, the cameraman that quit, whose name is Moda Media, will make a video discussing why he quit, saying that the work conditions weren't the best, speaking on the hot weather, bad Wi-Fi connection, and the fact that he got a lot of negativity.
All right, I'm gonna let this play. Then let's just see what he says, and then I'll talk about it.
Start off, Streaming University sucked. It was 92, 94 degree weather, humid as and the campus was huge, way bigger than last year. On top of that, Streaming University had crappy service, terrible Wi-Fi, not just DDGs, but other talents. Streams would go down. At one point, I couldn't reconnect back to the internet, I couldn't read the chat, and I couldn't send text messages myself. On top of the hot weather and the service, I was carrying 50 pounds of weight. Towards the 10-hour mark, I was dehydrated. My body started giving up on me. You know, when you're sweating so much and you're so dehydrated, you know, your shins give out, you get cramps. 13 hours in, I unintentionally started moving slow. 13 hours of just constantly holding the camera up like this. Camera operators are like at the bottom. You know, they treat us like at the bottom. Everything is our fault. I hear from a lot of other camera operators that I was talking to, they also cramped up. Body was giving out due to dehydration. You know, they needed to have a couple minutes to themselves to recharge, you know? All in all, you know, regardless of what may occur at Streaming University, it just didn't work out between me and him. It was mutual. No hard feelings. I got a lot of love for him and I hope it's mutual.
I'm sure he knew the type of job he was signing up for, seeing all these different streamers. Like, streams are chaotic, and the salary that he was getting made enough sense for him to take the job in the first place, so I'm sure he understood what he was getting himself into. He then speaks to any aspiring cameraman who wants to work with streamers, comparing it to working for the mafia.
Be prepared to treat it like the mafia. Nothing comes before the mafia. Nothing comes before the talent. Your family, your mental, physical health, errands, what you have to do at the house, talent comes first. You'll get a phone call at 1:30 that they need you at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and you are obligated to, you know, fulfill that. If you're gonna be a full-time camera operator, I suggest you have a strong program that goes well with physical, having a strong relationship with God or whoever you believe with spiritually. Or this job can really take a toll on you, especially when you're in the middle of the limelight with unintentionally. The haters and the trolls and the harassment can really get to your head. Seriously,
What's good, Rosie Finn?
Grateful that, you know, I have a strong connection with God. I have a good loving family back at home.
This is 100% fact.
So in terms of the working conditions, right? What did he expect? Bro, you signed up to be a cameraman 24/7 at a I don't know, a streamer university event or whatever, right? You knew what you were getting into. We've all been outside before during the summer. Of course it was hot. You know what I mean? I don't know what this guy was expecting. You know what I mean? So I don't know how that caught him by surprise. Secondly, he is right. Cameramen are generally not treated the best, okay? You know, when rap music, think about it, the rapper is the highlight. Nobody cares about the rapper's videographer. People don't really care about the rapper's DJ. People don't really care about the rapper's manager. They don't care about the road manager. Yeah, it is all about the talent. That also shouldn't be a surprise, you know? I feel like he's like complaining about stuff that he knew about when he took the job, right? And I'll be honest, he should have made sure he was in good enough health to be able to run around a little bit. You know, that should have been anticipated, you know? So he did lose out on what I think would be a great opportunity for a cameraman, unfortunately, but c'est la vie.
Your whole life basically revolves around the streamer you work for and their hours. It's long hours some days, and based on what I've seen online, some cameramen don't
Nah, I don't
even get a lot of breaks. It's just the nature of the job. After hearing these comments and comments from Ed, DDG will go on a rant on stream saying that no cameraman will ever make close to as much or more money than a streamer that they're filming, comparing them to McDonald's workers and saying the benefits of connection / traveling with him.
I'm getting back to it. I'm pretty inconsistent, to be honest.
is worth more than the salary itself.
Niggas will indirectly try to diss working for me, but niggas was so excited. Like, that shit be blowing me, bro. Like, you don't know how much cameraman's paid. Tell him how much you was paid at this point, bro.
Hey, Rosie fan, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that.
Like, I don't give a no. Let me put this in y'all brain. No cameraman will ever make as much money as the nigga they're filming. When a McDonald's nigga, a nigga that's working at McDonald's, Checkers, In-N-Out, when they making them burgers, you think they think in their head, damn, bro, I don't want to make these burgers no more, because the nigga that owned In-N-Out, the nigga that worked hard is to get to this point in his life to make this much money is making more than me. It's not fair. Oh, I
Virgin
make 20
Islands.
burgers a day. I need more money. No, not what it is. Y'all trying to diss niggas, but it's like, y'all understand, bro. Like, niggas that work for me, bro, as a cameraman, you live a beautiful life. You travel the world, you meet the coolest people in the world. Like, every nigga that ever worked for me would tell you that. You can't say that you don't. Just because you ain't getting paid a $100,000 or whatever the niggas expecting, that don't mean a nigga ain't spending damn near that much. Flying niggas across the world, putting niggas in the nice hotels, Airbnbs, feeding niggas. Boy, I'm a great boss. I feed my cameraman, y'all. All this shit online where we be joking and shit like cameraman don't eat. If nigga, we go to Steak 48, you think I'm gonna tell my cameraman to go to In-N-Out? No, nigga, get a Wagyu. F it. I'm rich as hell. I'm not finna go above and beyond paying a motherfucker just because I'm making more money. It makes no sense. This is a business. That's not how businesses work. Just because you're an individual doesn't mean that I don't operate like a business.
Now, I see a lot of comments saying 2 to 3K a month when the rate that DDG was paying them was not disclosed at all. People are just running with a narrative from Twitter pages and comment bots. I agree with what DDG said as far as how much cameramen make relative to the streamer that they work with. People just don't like the analogy he used on top of the fake $3,000 number. No cameraman is ever gonna make as much as the talent that they film. Streamers
That's facts. Obviously, cameramen aren't going to make as much of the talent that they film. And I think every logical cameraman knows this. You know what I mean? It's not a mystery. Every cameraman knows this. However, it will get to a point where if you see a streamer making more money and you're not making more money, I'm sure a lot of people will see a type of way. You know what I mean? Even if you don't think it would be that way, even if that wasn't the agreed upon thing, right? Let's say DDG was making $100,000 a month and you're a cameraman getting paid $3,000 a month, right? And let's say DDG starts working harder and you start working harder. Then DDG starts making $300K, but you're still making $3K. Most people are going to be upset about that, even though it was agreed upon you were getting $3K no matter what. The human nature kicks in and people do feel like, man, I am working hard. I do want to be fairly compensated for my work, and that's where a lot of friction starts to come in, but I do have a lot to say about the money and pay aspect about this based on the clips I've seen.
are always going to be the main character of their platform. That's just a no-brainer. The dumbest comment I saw was someone saying DDG can spend $300,000 on a car or some chrome hearts, but can tell me what I'm not worth. And to that, I'll say what he's spending his money on has nothing to do with what you make as a cameraman. That could be from music or some other venture that he made money from. And according to the Capaholics page on Twitter, who I think is a mod in DDG's chat, both his cameramen got about 5 figures per month at minimum.
Oh.
Adding up to 100K plus per year.
Okay, that's pretty good. Because I was hearing people complain about the pay, right? And when people were complaining about the pay, I thought he was like lowballing paying people 3 to 4K a month. But if he was paying them 5 figures, that's pretty solid money in base salary. So he said they were seeing 100K per year in base salary, and then additional earnings from his Snapchat. And then that was pretty good. If that's what the pay was, I don't know.
That does not sound like slave wages to me. To prevent any potential problems in the future with people wanting to get paid their worth, instead of negotiating a set salary, it should be a percentage of revenue made per stream, in whatever way you want to calculate it or split it. Just pay people based on the time that they put the work in. DDG also says the job of a cameraman is easy, saying that these cameramen complain too much.
Now this is where DDG fucked up. Okay, you should never tell somebody that their job is easy as an employer. That is just a bad, bad, bad thing to do. Okay. The reason you should never tell somebody their job is easy, because the moment you tell somebody their job is easy, they're going to feel unappreciated. You know what I mean? People are going to be like, really? You think what I'm doing is easy? You know, people will take that as a personal insult, even if what they do is actually easy. Now, is being a cameraman easy? No, and it's not easy for the same reason that the last cameraman quit. It's very demanding. You know, you're holding that camera all day. You're walking around in the hot sun. You know what I mean? You're constantly being criticized by the internet. You know, the internet can be a very toxic place. You know, it's not an easy job. You know what I mean? Now, is it as hard as DDG's job of being the main talent? No, of course it's not as hard. You know what I mean? But you should just never go undermine your employees' work like that. That was a very bad move on DDG's part, you know?
It's not the craziest job in the world. It's fucking simple. Hold the camera, make sure the battery's charged, travel the world, go out to the club with a nigga. We at the club, we see, you know, I'm a cool nigga. I'm not saying.
Basically, DDG is saying, hey, if you work for me, you'll get paid in some groupie.
Gotta go home. We man, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Bro, we good. Like, this is what I tell every nigga that work for me. If you're tired, I'm 20 times more tired. I can't.
Clearly, that wasn't the case with the last cameraman, but...
Leave the camera. You hold it. You can zone out. As long as you get the angles, I don't give a f*** if you texting on your phone or not. I don't give a f*** what you doing. As long as you getting the angles, you could be f***ing your girl. As long as you get the angles, it's cool. I'm not tripping. I don't give a f*** what you do. It's an easy job. You talking about it's hot. Duh, nigga. It's summertime. Too much complaining. Not enough angles.
The part about the job being easy varies from job to job, but it's definitely not manual labor, I'll tell you that. As far as the point about connections, traveling, food, and lodging being paid on top of the normal rate, I think that's 100% reasonable. I honestly don't think that's a bad deal at all. Whatever experience and relationships built from working around DDG will go a long way. And based on what Dub said on stream one time, I think his last cameraman Ed felt like he could have got way more just to fund his other ventures. And that's one of the reasons why he left.
You know, because you talk about how much cameramen start getting paid, then he's like, oh, you getting paid that much? Then they start asking for raises.
That's why Ed quit.
Yeah. How much for DDG paying?
Enough. And it wasn't enough, I guess, for him.
Throughout his online career, I'm sure DDG has had plenty of cameramen, but none stood out like Johnny and Ed. That's why they're mentioned so much. Johnny worked with DDG for a short time, but they got really close, even being featured in some of DDG's storylines. Sometime last year, he quit to pursue streaming, where he made over $500,000 in his first month, and is
shit. What? Yo, I would quit my job for 10% of that. You know what I mean? Damn. All right, if your cameraman had the ability to leave and make 500 grand in the first month after leaving, you can't be salty. You know what I mean? Granted, I don't think DDG has ever been salty about what's this guy's name? Johnny, or is this Johnny or Ed? One of them. He can't be upset about this cameraman leaving, because DDG would do the same thing if the roles were reversed, you know?
still pretty successful today.
Ain't no motherfucking, ain't no cameraman, bro. Ain't no pre-cameraman is making more money than Johnny. Johnny's the richest cameraman turned streamer there is.
Ed, on the other hand, worked on and off for DDG before eventually quitting recently to pursue clothing design and streaming. Like I mentioned earlier, both were paid pretty well. However, while streaming, Ed would constantly mention that the work that he was doing may not have been enough to fund his life outside of being a cameraman, and even mentions being an advocate for cameramen.
Depending how valuable you are will determine if you can even pass that or if you're just there. You might get benefits, you might get certain things, but when you work at any job, there's a maximum pay. When you go to college and you're figuring out what your passion is, you could go look up salary pay for the year for any job and it will tell you minimum, maximum. And at the end of the day, when I did this job, I think I've done it. I went through from beginning to end. I dropped out, I chased my dream, I did my job. I've experienced it. But is this pay going to take me to the point where I'm going to be able to do the things I love and dream about? Am I going to be able to retire my parents? Am I going to be able to level up my life and have a family of mine that I want to take care of them and have them live the life they want to live? I want to be an advocate for cameramen. I think that's a good direction to go into. You know, a lot of cameramen get, hey, you can't, you can't eat, you can't drink, you can't eat food. Man, f you, bro. You know, people are joking about that shit, but like, number one, they're humans. And number two, there is actual laws, gang. These laws aren't being applied to these cameramen. As streamer, you got to, it's like, it's damn near like they've never played a team sport before. Like, you gotta show love to the lineman. You gotta show love to your center. In fucking paint, boxing out everybody trying to get the board every time, just stamina, running back and forth, doing the dirty work while you over here spotting up at the 3 line, waiting for your guard to pass you the ball so you could take a wide open 3 or pass the ball out while this guy's fucking body on body fighting the next 6-foot fucking big man trying to get every board so you guys can get a second chance opportunity. Like, no, these cameramen need to be respected.
This may not mean Ed was underpaid like a slave or something, like most of the internet thinks, but probably not paid to his liking based on his personal goals.
So that's very interesting. He said not paid to his liking based on his personal goals. I thought the rumor going around, I don't know, but the way he made it seem was, I thought DDG was paying these guys like 3-4K a month. And I thought that was the problem, right? No, it seems like DDG was paying these guys very handsomely. One guy left because he had the ability to make $500,000 in his first month after leaving, right? And in the case of Ed, he didn't say DDG wasn't paying me shit. He said, you know, Ed was trying to get money that was going to retire his parents and stuff like that. Obviously, you're not going to get that as working as a cameraman for a streamer 9 times out of 10, you know? So it doesn't seem like they were being paid little. I feel like that was like the narrative going around on the internet, and neither of them have said that. So I don't know. That's very interesting.
Situations like these, and there's situations like Lacey and his cameraman, where he pays him about 20K per month and even gave him a $5,000 raise after seeing what other cameramen went through at Streamer U.
All these cameramen were holding cameras, holding probably 20 to 40 pounds of equipment in a backpack, and IRL walking around in 100-degree weather for 15 plus hours a day. And they also had, in my opinion, the worst sleeping and living conditions possible. Their beds literally looked like jail cells. Like, they literally didn't have shit. So big shout out to all the cameramen that were there. None of Streamer U would be possible without the cameramen. Drew told me that on his phone, he walked over 50 miles in the days we were at Streamer U, which means Drew walked over 2 marathons. So I don't know how that was, because I was obviously rolling around, but big shout out to them and big shout out to Drew. I haven't told Drew this, but I'm going to be giving Drew $5,000 extra for cameramanning at Streamer U.
This whole thing just makes me think, like, I would never want to be a cameraman for a streamer, bro. It's long hours carrying heavy equipment. Sometimes you don't.
See, Lacey's smart. Lacey knows how to keep a cameraman, right? He knows how much he made. I'm sure he made plenty of money while he was at Streamer University. He knows how hard the cameraman worked, right? And he knows, like, okay, this cameraman's hard to replace, and the cameraman did a great job, okay? Financially, it makes a lot of sense for me to just pay the cameraman however much I got to pay this cameraman to keep him around, you know? And I don't want the cameraman to be out here looking for other jobs, you know, if I pay him handsomely, you know? See, Lacey knows very good move on Lacey's part. You know what I mean? That's how you kind of like keep your good talent as an employer, I feel like.
Eat or take breaks for long stretches of time, and you're following around a person doing random stuff for hours. Yeah, you get paid, but I can see why some cameramen want to pursue other things. Imagine a streamer like Rakai or Dean the Great's cameraman, where they're just doing the wildest stuff on stream and you got to keep up for 8 to 15 hours at a time. And another component I ain't even mentioned is the streamer ego, and yeah, that's a no for me, dog. Some people are just meant to help push someone else's movement. You got to be really passionate about this to do this, man. But let me know what you think about this in the comments, man.
But yeah, man, that is the DDG cameraman situation, you know? I don't know, but based on what he said about Ed and Johnny and then the third guy, I feel like the internet was really making DDG out to be like this terrible boss, right? But it doesn't seem like that's actually the case, okay? You had Johnny, who Johnny left DDG because he just saw so much money on the table. How could you not leave? If you knew you could leave a job and make $500,000 your first month leaving that job, I mean, anybody would quit their job. You know what I mean? Once again, I would quit my job for 10% of that. 10% of that, I'll go quit my job, right? Oh, less than 10% of less than 10%, I'll go quit my job, right? Then Johnny left because he said, you know what? He didn't say he wasn't making bad money. He just said it wasn't enough money to retire his parents and, make these lofty goals, which to retire your parents, you would have to be getting paid a crazy amount of money. You know what I mean? So neither of those two said the pay was really awful. And even the third guy who quit, he quit because he couldn't physically keep up with it. He didn't say he quit because he wasn't getting paid properly. So yeah, that's very, very interesting. The internet has actually kind of done DDG wrong with this whole cameraman situation, to be honest. But yeah, would I ever want to be a cameraman? To be honest with you, not really. Being a cameraman looks like it just sucks, like I could see myself doing some videography for a few hours, but to follow somebody all day, 7 days a week, and I feel like one of the roughest parts about being a cameraman personally is just like not getting enough alone time. I feel like, you're just following this other man around all day. You're probably not getting a lot of privacy. I don't know. I'm not an introvert or anything, but like when I need to be alone, I need to be alone, man. And that's why invasive jobs like that, where like being somebody's bodyguard or being somebody's cameraman, I could just never see myself doing stuff like that because like I need to be able to separate my work and my life, right? But when you're traveling with your employer all the time, you're somewhat living with your employer, and whatever your employer decides to do in their personal life is somewhat your responsibility to an extent. Like that, you got to draw the line somewhere, right? So yeah, those are kind of the I don't know.